All right, this is going to be a shorter video than the one I sent out yesterday, and we're going to look at how Kicatan likes to play in a couple clips, just a couple, and then look at how they like to execute on a couple of set plays. And the reason we're not spending as much time looking at how they play is it's really no different than how they've done in years before, and something that certainly all of our returning players should be familiar with. So what I want to start by showing y'all is a situation where Kicatan has a throw-in and how not being organized and set from the initial throw-in really leads to possible mistakes and space for the opposition, even though nothing comes of this. So I'm going to start the video here, and we see the ball go out, and pause it right here. Gloucester never really gets in a good position, even though they've got numbers back. So ideally, this guy would be goal side of this player here to take away that throw. This player, I'm not sure why he's right here, if I'm honest. He should be the one cutting off the run right here. Instead, this guy tracks him, and this guy should be right here with him. So on throw-ins this deep in our half, we talked about this at the Bethel game, the ball should never be coming in uncontested here. And we're going to see the ball comes in, he picks it up into some space, comes back here. And so I'm going to pause it again, and I just want to show you how unbalanced the Gloucester team is here. The clearly most glaring issue is this guy is in a ton of space right on the edge of their 18, and that can't happen. And additionally, you never need this many people wide here. They're not going to score a goal from this area. Even if someone were to get a cross off from this space, we'd rather have the bodies in here to clean up the cross rather than have three people trying to block it. So as soon as that ball came back, these Gloucester defenders in the back here really should be stepping up too to play these guys offside. This is really falling into the trap of playing the way Kicatan wants you to, because we're chasing the ball around their area rather than sort of just sitting into our zones while keeping track of the body. So the ball comes in here, and again, nothing comes of this because he takes a bad touch here, but this is not a situation we want to get into where we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 white shirts, and they probably all feel like they need to close out here. And again, luckily they've got the bodies back, but we really want to make sure those pockets of space are not going to open up, because we want to react immediately to that ball going out for a throw-in. And again, we'll see here the ball goes out. This guy doesn't have the best touch in the world. And you see the Kicatan field here is not in great shape either. So that was a little short example of just what sort of happens when we don't get set and where we don't communicate with who's doing what initially on a throw-in. All right, here we're going to see Kicatan really open Gloucester up and create a good opportunity going forward. You see Gloucester has the ball here. When they lose it, we see a first-time ball is played to Noah Price. So in the little chat, we were asking who their most dangerous players were. This guy right here is probably their best player. The other guy we were talking about, Cam, number 10, he didn't feature as much in this game, but those are the two best players. Number 6 right here, and then number 10, who's a blonde kid who would be up here somewhere were he playing. So he picks up the ball in space here, plays it forward, and this isn't even where the opportunity comes from. But again, we talked about Kicatan being really narrow defensively. Gloucester is here too, and it's understandable because they were just coming out of attack. They actually deal with this initial ball pretty well. Okay, he picks that up. The ball comes back here. Good pass. All right, I want you to keep an eye on what happens here through the middle. We see that Kicatan really is streaming bodies forward. When they take the ball, they want to advance as quickly as possible. So the ball comes in here, and what happens is this guy's coming over here who should be his mark. This defender ideally would be getting tighter to this man right here. But look right here. We got two Kicatan players falling into the space behind him. These guys need to be working a little bit harder to get back goal side here. And I don't know if that's what makes this player reluctant to step in with this guy, that he's worried about space opening up here behind him, between him and the left back. But we're going to see the ball get played in right here. And this defender, when the ball gets played behind him, loses sight of this guy right here, the runner. He ends up getting caught ball watching. Again, it's somewhat understandable because of the space this player found himself in. And the ball comes in behind him, and they almost score here. Okay, so that highlights a couple things. We'll run it back so we can see that again real quick. This goes on play. And I'll let it play all the way through here. So the ball comes out, goes to the center forward, comes out wide, really good pass there. And this is where, right in here, when this is happening, this is where we've got to be looking over our shoulders and being aware of everything is, because Kecoughtan wants you to ball watch. They want you to over pursue. They want all these white shirts coming towards the ball here. And if we do that, we're going to find the trailers here finding themselves in some space. So they play some good 1-2s right there. And that's really what they rely on to score. So awareness there is going to be critical. Okay, so before we look at some set plays here, just to sort of summarize, and again, I know that wasn't that many clips, but like I said, in that Gloucester game, Gloucester had more of the ball, so there wasn't a ton of Kecoughtan getting forward there. So playing against the Kecoughtan attack and being ready for it, the first thing is just being aware of the situation. We know from the previous video that we do want to target their defenders when they're on the ball, but once they complete those first 2 or 3 passes, we know that we've got to be working backwards, okay? If we're going to win the ball back when we lose it, it needs to happen immediately. So if we don't get the ball back immediately, everyone is going to have to drop back into that space, not just staring at the ball, but looking what's around them to prevent them from getting the numerical advantage inside of our half. And additionally, we have to track the runs of the passer. We can't just look at where the ball goes. We have to know that, particularly once they get right on the edge of our final third there, whoever's given that ball up is going to then try and get in behind the nearest defender. And the second one is keeping our shape, whether it's on those throw-ins like we said, or whenever they drop the ball, we want to make sure we move up as one unit, and that if we move to the right, the entire back line moves to the right, we move left together, and we keep those gaps between us as tight as possible. So they're not the most athletic players. I'm not worried about them, dribbling around us by the sideline, getting to the touchline, and then going past 3 or 4 other people. What they want to do is open up spaces between the defenders and between the defenders and the midfield. So we want to really pack the middle outside of our own 18 and make them go around the outside when possible. Again, I like us in any sort of a one-on-one situation. I like us dealing with the crosses. What I worry about is them finding a way through us rather than having to go, in between us rather than having to go through us there. Okay, so now we are going to take a quick minute to look at how Kecoughtan defends set plays, because they use zonal marking as opposed to man-to-man marking. So like when you see here, how they have Kecoughtan players stationed in different areas in their area rather than man marking. And, that's just a choice. Most high school teams prefer to man mark. I prefer to man mark. But this is just something we need to be ready for. So I want you to see here how it looks like the far post is sort of their most vulnerable area here. They got a lot of bodies for the balls played short, and this one comes into the back. And the guy on the post actually makes a really good play on the ball. I'm sorry, it wasn't the guy on the post. It was the guy, this guy right here makes a good play. But you see that there are numbers at Kecoughtan. If that ball carries about another yard or 2, there are multiple people there to attack it. So if that ball were to get over his head, we've got a couple different guys back here to attack it. And we're going to do some stuff in training Monday to, and focus how we want to attack. That was actually not a corner kick. That was a free kick in the little side area there. But we're going to see a couple more examples of them zonal marking just so we can be ready for it. All right, so here is a corner kick. And pretty similar to the last one, we're going to see that the far post is here to be exploited. So again, we see they're set up in the zonal marking. Gloucester is wisely attacking from deep, and then that guy tries to get a foot on. I really wish he would have stepped up a little bit more and thrown ahead at that ball. I don't know why y'all love to shoot with your feet in these situations. But we see with this zonal marking, if the ball gets over this group of players right here, there's a ton of space back there. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to try something, and we'll do this in practice, where we're going to start with a couple of players right here towards the back post that are going to then run through the zonal marking towards the near post, hopefully getting all these players to sort of step with them, and then we will have another group of players making the run from the top here, sort of like they do, who attack that space in behind them there, because Again, it looks like they would much prefer the ball be played in front of them here, and any balls into this area are going to be potentially a goal. All right, so now we get to see a corner kick from the other side, and it's really more of the same. We see Kecoughtan in their zonal marking here. We see Gloucester wisely starting their runs from deeper, and when this ball is hit into play to the far post, Kecoughtan wins the header. They just can't quite keep it down. So I do think that we have a chance to be somewhat opportunistic here on these set plays if we can get those balls long. And again, it's of course easier to say hit the ball to the far post than it is to actually do it. And I know they're not always going to get exactly where we want them to, but that is going to be the goal, is to get that ball over the zone and to land just far of the far post. Okay, now we're going to watch Kecoughtan take a couple of set plays here. In a couple examples. So this first one, I'm not entirely sure if this is intentional or not, but it's something we need to be ready for, is them trying to slide the ball in. You're thinking, hey, from this position, there's going to be a deep cross in here for these guys to attack. And I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but we do want to be wary of them trying something slick on these set plays, try and catch us off guard. So just, again, be wary of their space in and around the wall. If they send a runner to the outside, we want to be on top of that. Okay, here's going to be Kecoughtan's first goal of the game. Both their goals in this came from set plays, and we see here this is Noah Price, number 6, with a good opportunity to shoot. It's not the most impressive shot in the world, as you're going to see here. The keeper is in a pretty bad position. He's a little bit, for a ball that center, he's a little bit too far to his far post, and he's convinced the ball's going that way. And it ends up going into the center of the goal. I don't think he's the tallest player in the world. Like I'm pretty sure Keba would have had that. But again, it's not a bad take from him, and I don't know if that's where he was trying to put it, but it worked for him, So there's no real lesson to be learned there other than giving this kid the opportunity to shoot from outside of the 18 is going to be one of their better chances to get something past it. All right, this is their second goal of the game, and it's from a free kick in a similar place. It's, once again, not the most impressive goal, but they all count the same. We're going to see the wall actually blocks the ball, and it seems like they're in good shape here. The Kecoughtan player goes down. No penalties given, but he keeps playing. So the lesson to be learned there is that you play to the whistle because you can't assume they're going to call a foul. You can't assume that the player's not going to get up. And, yeah, it's not pretty, but it worked. And without those two set plays we just looked at, Kecoughtan loses this game. And so, again, you don't have to play great to win in soccer. You just got to take your chances, and you got to limit the opposition, which they did a good enough job of here to win 2-1. Okay, so in summary here, and I apologize, I said this video would be shorter. It's about the exact same length here. In summary, when we're defending their set play, or when they're defending set plays, we know they're going to use zonal marking. So it's the timing of the runs that's the most important thing. We want to make sure that the taker is giving the runners advance notice so they can get moving, because a player who is running is going to out-jump one of the Kecoughtan players who is set. So if the ball lands in the right area and our run is getting into that area at the correct time, we're going to be the more likely team to score. And like I said, we're going to practice this in training on Monday. When Kecoughtan is attacking, we want to make sure that we're aware and alert to any quick little ground passes if they try to be cute. We need to clear our lines, obviously, and that's not just true against Kecoughtan. That's true against, not against, anyone. And last is we don't want to give away fouls when we don't have to around the box, because I think our defenders are better than their attackers. So as long as the ball is in play, I like our chances to get it back from them and start an attack of our own. But set plays are going to be one of their more likely ways to score, like we just saw in those videos. So unless we have to foul, we want to avoid doing it. That's it, y'all.